Hello there Year 5s, it's Mr. Conway here. Now for today's how-to guide, it's a maths lesson and it's writing thousands as decimals. So the decimal I'm going to be looking at today is 1.311. 1.311. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is build this decimal so I can calculate and figure out the place value of each digit. So I've got my place value chart here. Now at home I really recommend that you get some scrap paper and you build your own place value chart. It'd be very useful for today's lesson. So in this decimal 1.311 I have one hole, just one hole. So I've got my big block, there's my 1. My next decimal here is 3. My next digit is 3. 3, and that's in the tens place value. So I need to have 3 tens. So I need to get 3 tens. And these are tenths because 10 of these would make one whole. 1, 2, 3 tenths. Right, next place value is hundreds. How many hundreds do I have in my decimal? 1. So I'm going to put 1 here. Next is my thousands. How many, what's the digit in my thousands place value? Tens, hundreds, thousands. It's 1 again. So I'm going to put a 1 into here. So this is the same decimal, I've just built it. Now underneath I'm going to write an expanded decimal now, just to help me out, okay? So looking at my ones place value first of all, I just have the number 1. I'm going to put an add sign in there as well. 1 plus, how many tens did I have again? 1, 2, I've got 3 tens. 0.3. And remember in the last video we did, I explained how to convert this fraction into a decimal. So if you're not too sure, have a look back at that video again. Going into my hundreds column, I've only got 1 hundredth, so that'd be 0.01. And in my thousands column, I have just 1 thousandth, so that'd be 0.001. And remember, maths is all about spotting those patterns, and I'm sure you can spot there's a pattern emerging here. So now I've written an expanded method. I'm just going to write that down on my whiteboard. So I'm just going to leave that to the side for a second. So 1.311 equals is the same as 1 whole plus 3 tenths plus 1 hundredth plus 1 thousandth. So now I've done an expanded method. I'm now going to show you how to convert this into a fraction. Okay, so that's our next step, converting a decimal with thousands into a fraction. So for this, I'm going to go back to my place value chart. Here it is again. And I'm just going to draw a little squiggly line here. Because I've done this now, give myself a big tick in the mirror. It's done a great job, Mr. Conway. Now then, for my fraction, straight away, just from looking at what I've built here of this decimal, and the decimal is still 1.311, I can already calculate and deduce it's going to be a mixed number. Now remember, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together. And it's obvious this will be a mixed number because look, I've got 1 whole in my ones column. So straight away, I'm going to put a 1 down, and because it will be a mixed number, it will have to be a fraction. I'm going to put my fraction symbol there so it's ready. So I've finished with my 1, I'm going to look at the rest of my digits. I've got my 3 tenths, 1 hundredths, and 1 thousandths. Now because I'm calculating all the way up to thousands, this is in fact going to be my denominator. So I'm going to put that in there now. That's going to be my denominator because all of these fit into that thousandths, okay? And all I need to do now is transfer all my place value into my fraction. So I've got my 1 whole, next is my tenths. How many tenths do I have? 1, 2, 3. 3 tenths. How many hundredths? Just the 1. And how many thousandths? Just the 1. So writing this as a mixed number would be 1 whole and 311 thousandths. So I'm just going to put that to the side, go back to my whiteboard and write that down so I don't forget. So 1.311 is the same as 1 whole and 311 thousandths. Now then, and Mr. Conway's top tip, one thing that Year 5s often do as a marvellous mistake is they'll write 1 and 311 thousandths like this. They'll still do the 1 whole, still do the thousandths, but they might add too many digits to the top. So just be careful that when you're working with thousands, you don't want to actually go over 1,000 because then you've made an improper fraction. It will always be up to hundredths, okay? So that's just one thing to spot. And actually, when you look in the lesson today at the deepen it question, you'll see that's a clue for later on. So there you are, Year 5s. That is converting a decimal with thousands into a fraction and using the expanded decimal system as well. Have a lovely day, Year 5s, and enjoy those decimals.